Hello and a very warm welcome. Thank you, Madhulika, for joining in. We are diving into third wheel of life from this amazing book, Life's Amazing Secrets by Gaur Gopal Das. As of now, we have read about personal life and relationships. Now we are diving into the third wheel, that is work life. In this, we have four chapters wherein we are going to understand about competition crossroads that we will read today. Then self-discovery. Uske baad we will be talking about decoding the spirituality at work, and then integrity and character. So, welcome to wheel number 3. Let me very quickly start sharing the screen so that we can start reading together. And wheel 3, that is work life. And today we are on chapter number 13 that talks about competition crossroads. At work, we tend to compare and compete with others instead of comparing and competing with ourselves. Being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Going to bed at night saying we have done something wonderful, that's what matters to me, says Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs ये बोल रहा है. Just imagine, wow, profound. एंड आई बिलीव दैट जब तक एक यूनिटी के अंदर एक विजन एक मिशन को एकम्प्लिश करने की कोशिश की जा रही होती है तब तक हाउ इन आवर चाइल्डहुड डेज पेरेंट्स यूज्ड टू टीच अस यूनाइटेड वी स्टैंड डिवाइडेड वी फॉल जब तक एक साथ चल रहे हैं तब तक वी विल बी एबल टू handle things much easily, much faster, and the journey will be happy as well.
No doubt, Karishma. But I think only Steve Jobs or the people who have money can say that money is like secondary. And
Hmm.
you have the right to say this when you have it.
Hmm.
Because for us, the first responsibility is to first earn it and then use it for social cause. Then you can say,
Yes.
okay, I don't need it and I'm using it for social cause.
Hmm.
So the first responsibility is to earn.
Yes. Hmm. We had just passed the crossroads of Haji Ali. We were edging closer to the ashram, where I was now over 2 hours late for my meal. There was no point of panicking. Controlling the traffic was beyond my influence. Look at the motorbikes and cars and cab drivers. Getting stuck in traffic can make people really angry. I said over a cacophony of hooting and swearing by other drivers around us. Everyone wants to get ahead of each other, and when they cannot, they get angry. It is like a work why it is like my workplace, Harry intervened. As I said, I need to be friendly with people at my workplace because we need to complete projects together. But there is also this air of competition. How can I get rid of that? He paused for a moment to think. Actually, I cannot help but compete. If I don't do that, then I will never get the promotion I want. I am not volunteering for my company. I have bills to pay, he laughed. I understand your dilemma. This issue is not just unique to the working at a world. It is found in all spheres of life, whether it is between students, professionals, couples, or even monks. Competition is a mindset that we have to redefine. I began explaining to Harry. Many years ago, when I was in college, I remember auditing to singing at our annual social gathering. It wasn't a big role, but I had been encouraged by my friends to take part as they felt I had a good voice. I walked out on the stage with the spotlight glaring down on me, three judges ready to give me a score. I heard rumors that I was likely to get the part, but I didn't look too much into it. The microphone was at the center of the stage. I held it and sang the hit Bollywood song of that summer. Remember, at that point, I was not a monk yet. The music faded in from the speakers and I started singing. Stop, stop, stop. One of the engineering professors, who was also a judge, said, raising his hand. Do you have something stuck in your throat? Have some water and start again. I was confused. My throat was fine, but I sipped some water to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. The music faded in again. I sang half the song, but they stopped me halfway with disappointed looks on their faces. It just wasn't my day today, I thought, but I had tried my best. A little disheartened, I returned home, ready to focus on my studying again. It was only a week later that I found out what had really happened. The sound engineer was who controlled my microphone came up to me in that college bathroom and said, I felt really bad that you could not do get the part last week. Why do you have to feel bad? I asked, washing away the soap from my hands. I hardly knew this person. Well, the person who got the part paid me to adjust the settings so that your audition sounded terrible. It's been playing on my conscience all the week, he said, looking at the floor. What? I said in shock. I'm sorry. If you want, I can report this to the judges and see what can be done, he said, groveling. No, no, it's all right. I haven't got the time anyway. But thanks for telling me, I said as dried my hands with paper towels. He then walked out of the bathroom. I was in disbelief. Why would someone sabotage my audition? It wasn't anything significant. There were no monetary rewards, trophies, or extra marks. Since studying was my main priority, I decided not to take it up with the judges nor to confront the boy who had bought that part. Having witnessed the ugly side of of his competitive nature, I did become more suspicious of him. What could have driven him to be so competitive? I thought as I walked back into the classroom. Jealousy or envy? One reason I thought of was that he was possibly envious of me. When one harbors ill feelings towards others, wanting to be like them or better than them, but does not act on those feelings, it is called jealousy. Although the feeling eats one up from inside, one still has the self control to not harm the other person. However, when one does not act, oh sorry, when one does act on those feelings, jealousy turns into envy. And envy is the root cause of being competitive with others in a way where one does not mind going an extent to take their place. Hmm. Then comes uncontrolled ambition. Another reason I could think of was that people want to be the best, sometimes at any cost. When there are limited resources and many takers, competition is natural. This is found in all domains of life, from music to sports and even among other species. Competition is a tendency that occurs in nearly every ecosystem in nature. But human beings are not just another species. They have the ability to cooperate and subscribe to higher values such as harmony, loyalty, and trust. Just as within natural ecosystem, competition is greater within the same species, within humans, competition is fierce within the same company or the same field of action. We compete with people who have the same skills or outlook in life as us. The engineer competes with another engineer, a musician with another musician, and a doctor with another doctor. When another person's skills have no bearing on our lives, we rarely feel threatened. But if someone can outperform us by doing better in what we aspire to do, the base tendencies of competition can settle in. Wow. So these were the two reasons. Then आगे बोल रहा है sports, business, politics, workplace. Sports. Every sports has an element of competition to it, and there is a joy in pushing yourself to the limits. But when the stakes are high, the prestige and prize of winning may completely overshadow the ethics of doing your best. And some players may even play dirty to win, whether it is over exaggerating injuries in the football tournament or tampering with the ball to make it swing more in flight in a cricket match. Players have been seen putting their hard earned reputation and even their sports career on the line simply for some cheap short term gains. Businesses में कैसे करते हैं? Companies will almost always compete to grab the biggest market share and be the best in the industry, unless they have a monopoly in a particular sector. After all, a capitalist society is based on the premise of increasing profits and having more for oneself. And that's fine as long as such competition is driven by sheer ambition. But when ambition crosses the line of ethics and turns into greed, even reputed businesses can get involved into scandals as they vie for the largest piece of the pie. Politics. Rather than contesting an election based on merits, politicians may sometimes be seen spreading lies to sway voters, suppressing voters on polling days, threatening opponents, and even assassinating a candidate. The root cause is unethical competition. Then comes the workplace. Although competition is in the arena of sports, business, or politics may be distant reality for many, workplace politics and competition is something they may have very closely experienced. Gossips, backstabbing, spreading lies, and not cooperating with co-workers on purpose can be forms of unhealthy competition to get on the top. I'm reminded of an extreme episode of office politics. My friend, as a photographer for the leading fashion magazine, J something, worked as a photographer for a leading fashion magazine, which was global brand. In their Mumbai office, every photographer had a team, including a person to handling lighting, costumes, and a stylist. Jamin felt that the team worked well together. Everyone played their part to produce incredible work. That was only until he found out what the stylist was up to. On the outside, she seemed very cooperative and friendly, but on the inside, she harbored deep envy, wanting to replace him as the lead photographer. After a few months of working together, Jamin started noticing some odd patterns in her behavior. If a shoot was scheduled and she would deliberately come late. If he wanted the style of the model one way, she would ignore his request and dress them a different way. But the worst was still yet to come. Another day, another shoot. Jamin was at his desk editing some pictures he had just taken when, out of the blue, an office boy came up to Jamin and said, "Sir, the HR lady wants to see you." "What about?" Jamin asked. "I'm not sure, sir," the office boy replied. It was nothing. The HR lady just wanted Jamin to fill out some documents for his payslips. However, the odd thing was that when he returned to his computer, the files that he was working on had been deleted. Hours of work wiped off his hard drive. Jamin rushed to the IT department to try and recover them, to no avail. They were lost permanently. Over the course of few months, Jamin's photo backup had mysteriously disappeared 4 times. He either needed a new laptop or someone had hacked his password and was deliberately sabotaging his work. He decided to set a trap to see who it was. He asked the IT department to point the CCTV camera towards his laptop. They agreed, excited by the fact that this was as close as they would come to playing undercover detectives. After a big shoot, he purposely left his laptop open and then rushed to the CCTV screens at the IT support. They had a popcorn out and were ready to catch the criminal. It was a stakeout. A few minutes later, after Jamin left his desk, not to his surprise, the stylist logged onto his laptop and started deleting his work. She had been caught red handed. Surely she would be fired. Jamin went straight to the HR manager with a video recording of what Silas had done. However, the twist in the tale was that the HR manager and the stylist were in this together. They wanted to prove that he was inefficient, lazy, and didn't do his work on time. They were both jealous of the autonomy and resources he had been given by the director. Jamin was a trusted member of the team who had been given the privilege to managing his own schedules. But that had made this dude envious. Why did they have to come in for work at the fixed time when Jamin could waltz in as he pleased? They thought. Both of them conspired against him, the HR manager out of frustration that Jamin did not have to report and listen to her, and the stylist out of ambition to take his position. The both reported their false story to the director, who called Jamin in for a meeting. Even though Jamin had proof that he was completing his work on time, he decided to resign from this position. He wanted to start his own studio anyway and did not prefer to work in such a toxic environment. The director pleaded for him to stay, but it was not maybe possible. Um, but it was of no use. As Jamin was packing up his things at his desk, he thought of copying all the photographs he had taken so that he could use them as a portfolio for the future work. But the bitterness of the duo was so strong that they had deleted his entire portfolio when Jamin was meeting with the director. Years of hard work lost in a flash, all because of envy and uncontrolled ambition. Jamin's story highlights unhealthy competition, which makes one sacrifice one's principles and values to externally get ahead. Wow, what a story. It's not like that at my workplace, Harry said. Well, it's not that extreme anyway. As stressful as my work can get, I do feel I have a good team. Yes, Jamin's situation was unique, and it may not get that bad for most people, I said. No one should ever do what the stylist did. But if we don't compete at work, won't we be left behind? Harry asked with some confusion. Here is no question of not competing. There is no question of not competing. If you want to grow, you have to compete, I replied. The only difference is whom are you competing with? I added. People with the closed mindset want to grow by beating others in their field. Open minded people, on the other hand, grow by developing themselves. They know that nobody is their competition, they are their own competition. Every day, they keep striving to become better versions of themselves, even if the growth is only a tiny fragment. They feel uncomfortable if they remain the same as they were yesterday. The actor Matthew McConaughey spoke about his principle in his 2014 Oscar acceptance speech. Oh, yes, I have seen it on YouTube, Harry replied. Since the car was still at a halt, I pulled out my phone and played the short video. The words of the American actor echoed around the car and to my hero. There is, that's who I chase. Now, when I am 15 years old, I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, who is your hero? And I said, I don't know. I gotta think about that. Give me a couple of weeks. I come back 2 weeks later. This person comes up and says, "Who is your hero?" I said, "I thought about you. You know who it is? It is me in 10 years." I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and says, "So, are you a hero?" And I was like, "Not even close. No, no, no." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because my heroes is me in 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero is always 10 years away. I'm never gonna be my hero. I'm not gonna attain that. I know I am not. And that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing." As the video ended, I put my phone back in my pocket and shared my reflection. We should imbibe this thought pattern of self competition rather than feeling insecure about others going ahead. We should be striving to do our best to realize our dreams about the future selves. Not only will this attitude keep our mind free from envy and insecurity, but it will also help us reach our fullest potential, bringing immense success and a deep sense of satisfaction. A young boy learning the traditional Kathak dance was regularly missing his steps and stumbling during practice. Frustrated, he came to his teacher and asked, "When will I be able to dance finely like your other students? When will I be able to keep up with the beats and perform every move with grace?" The teacher replied, "When you stop looking at your fellow students during the practice. Remember, you are not in competition with them. You are in competition with yourself. Your goal is to simply be better than what you were yesterday, not better than the other boys and girls in the class." Whether in dancing, playing a sport, in business, or anything in life, this ideology brings self excellence. And we see this ideology to play at Apple. Only if you live in a cave somewhere in the Gobi Desert would you not know what Apple is, one of the most successful companies in the modern era. In 2018, it has ranked the ninth richest company in the world, jumping up the list in the previous decade with the launch of the popular iPhone. Have you ever bought an iPhone from an Apple store on a day of its launch? You are greeted by hundreds of staff, all in matching uniforms, who clap and cheer loudly as you purchase their newest product. Although I have never seen this, my friends tell me it's like a party. People become hysterical. But what is it that makes Apple so innovative that people keep coming back to them? The answer is found in the culture given by their leadership. The late Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, believed that competing with others was a distraction from your own inner creativity. To not strive to originality would have been disastrous for Apple. If we compare ourselves with others too much, we succumb to ordinariness. We can start blindly imitating others and even lose our essence. In the worst case scenario, we become boring. Steve Jobs was notorious for paying careful attention to details in all his products. He wanted to change the world, not just copy the next best company to increase his stock prices. He wanted to express himself fully, not just follow the expressions of others. He wanted to compare himself to what he had done in the past, not just with Bill Gates. "So, are you trying to say that comparison with others is always bad?" Harry interrupted. "No," I replied. If we have if we do have to compare ourselves to others, we should compare positive attitudes. That person's attitude of tirelessly keep working or grinding at their skills is inspiring. I want that same attitude. Let me learn from them and in turn help them in any way I can. Let us mutually grow. That is how an open minded person thinks. That sounds great. But when competitive people around you engage in dirty politics to drag you down and grab the deal, should you just keep quiet and continue to work on? Look at what the stylist did to Jamin, Harry objected. There will always be those who play dirty politics at the workplace. I replied. There seems to be every office like moisture in the air. Wherever there are humans, you will find two type of people. Those who work in honest ways, living with integrity, and those who don't. Of course, this is a generalization. Nobody has a perfect moral compass. Neither is anyone completely morally bankrupt. Even if you leave your job to join another company, there will be people engaging in politics there as well. It may be a little less or little more, and maybe of a different flavor. However, we must learn how to manage demanding situations at the workplace in a clean way. There are few books written by experienced professionals that explain in great details the subject of dealing with workplace politics. I highly recommend that you read one of these books. The bottom line, however, is rather than being political, it is better to constantly work hard on self improvement to achieve excellence. In extreme cases like Jamin's, when it is impossible to stay surrounded by the negativity of bosses and colleagues, it is better to move on. Only if you have another work option, or of course. And the summary calls out for these 6 pointers. That is, there are two causes of unhealthy competition being that is, being envious of someone or uncontrolled ambition. We compete with people who have the same skills or outlooks in life as us. When another person's skills have no bearing on our life, we rarely feel threatened. Number three, competition is found in all spheres of life. Some examples including sports, business, politics, and the workplace. Jamin's story is an extreme case study of unhealthy competition. Number five, healthy competition is about competing with ourselves rather than others to become a better version of ourselves. And number six, there will always be workplace politics, but we should learn how to manage it in a clean way. Wow, that was a long read. All right. What is your understanding of this? Madhulika, do we have you with us?
Yes, 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 yes. Understanding is again, it's like combination. There will be competition as well. Sports, like in sports, in studies, competitive exams. The name is itself competitive exams, that competition exists. But yes, the competition should not be, the ways to achieve something should not be unethical.
Hmm.
Ethics should also be, it should always be the baseline. But there is a very thin line. For someone it is unethical, but for someone it is ethical. Like they did that sam dam dand bhed kuch bhi karke, I have to, I have to get that position. So team up कर लेना, gang up कर लेना, किसी के against हो जाना उसको, or it happens, it is natural, but yes, we must know how to deal with that in a healthy way. If you can deal with that, it's okay, otherwise move on.
um, मैंने ये कोचिंग इंडस्ट्री में बहुत देखा है एंड व्हेन आई फील when you start feeling jealous, so envy is a very very high frequency word. Envy तो मेरे ख्याल से नहीं होता होगा because everyone is nicely nurtured by their mentors maybe, but जहां पर भी jealousy आनी शुरू होती है, most of the mentors just suggest that instead of getting jealous, get inspired, get connected to that person, and learn how are they doing it. And Start imitating. Start doing it for yourself. Take inspired actions rather than getting jealous and sitting and, doing this and that to them. uh, it is always better to get connected to them rather and learn from them कि हाँ भाई तुम क्या कर रहे हो, मुझे भी समझाओ, मुझे भी बताओ, how can I do it for myself? And it's not that difficult. I don't know about the office culture. I don't know whether that happens in the offices and workspaces or not. But since last 2 years, जिसके पास I have gone and spoken to them कि you're doing well, this is the struggle that I'm facing, can you help me with it? There has been nobody. In fact, people feel privileged. They feel कि हाँ यार देखो मुझसे भी कोई पूछने आया है, let me tell them, let me be the best coach now. And they give out with all their heart. Jealousy
Hmm.
will not solve anything at all. Inspired actions will help you grow. And then again, it is always said कि क्यों compare करना है? Everybody has so there is a ladder. You may be on the step 1, they may be on step 5, 7, 10, 15, 100. जब आप compare करते हो, you do not have the same circumstances as them, you do not have the past like them, so why compare? अपनी अपनी लाइन में चलते जाओ, कहीं ना कहीं तो सब पहुंच ही जाओगे.
It is available in abundance. There should not be a scarcity mindset. So when you operate from a abundance mindset, so you don't feel jealous. Yeah, you feel inspired that yes, if someone has 100,000 followers, I can also have 50,000 or maybe 60,000 or maybe 200,000 followers because there are so many people. So yeah, it depends कि आपका क्या mindset है, आप किससे काम कर रहे हो. But हाँ, ये भी मुझे ठीक लगा that if you can't handle it, just move on. There is no point sitting over there. क्योंकि
हाँ,
आप
that is
दुनिया में
also
किसी को ठीक करने के लिए नहीं पैदा हुए हो. That you
हाँ,
will,
ये भी ठीक.
correct someone. हाँ, if you cannot take it, let them be. Let them be and move on.
ज्यादा टॉक्सिसिटी में नहीं रहना चाहिए.
Exactly.
That's it.
Otherwise आप सोक करने लग जाते हो, फिर आप
Then
रिएक्ट
you
करने लग
also
जाते हो.
become the same.
हाँ,
Yes.
आपकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज, आपका जो भी है, मतलब there is a limit to handle everything. So you should move on. You should वही है, बाउंड्रीज बना लो, सेट डिस्टेंस. और
Hmm.
ये प्रॉब्लम होती है पर्सनल और प्रोफेशनल में. पर्सनल में आप बाउंड्रीज बना के रह सकते हो, प्रोफेशनल में नहीं रह सकते हो. यू हैव टू लुक फॉर अनदर ऑल्टरनेटिव.
Hmm.
ये एक बाउंडेशन, हाँ, ये एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम एरिया है. बस वरना लगता है कि क्या पर्सनल में अगर कोई ऐसा हो तो झेलते रहो, झेलते रहो, झेलते रहो. नहीं, बट पर्सनल लाइफ में यू कैन make boundaries, you can set boundaries. Whosoever it is, whether your child, your in-laws, your parents, your husband, you can set boundaries. But in professional
Workplace.
life, मुश्किल है boundaries set करना.
Is it that difficult?
Yes, it is that difficult because if you have to make someone work for you, how can you set boundaries? If you have to, for example, you are in sales and someone is in operations, your client will be handled by the operation person, so you need to talk to them. तो
But
उसमें
boundaries does
बाउंड्री.
not mean that you have to stop talking to people. Boundaries is the
But if they are not,
non-negotiables.
yeah, nahi, if you come to know that someone is not in your favor,
Hmm.
someone is not in your favor, then I think you should move on. जब आपको दिख जाए कोई कोई आपके पीछे लगा ही हुआ है, मतलब आपको
Hmm.
डिस्ट्रॉय करने पे ही लगा हुआ है, एंड यू कैन नॉट स्टूप डाउन टू दोज लेवल्स, या तो आप भी उस लेवल पे चले जाओ. तो
Hmm.
आप स्टूप डाउन नहीं कर सकते दैट द सेम वे दैट जो वो कर रहे हैं आप भी करने लगो, और उनको मतलब बैक स्टैप करो या कुछ. तो आई
Hmm.
थिंक इट इज बेटर टू मूव ऑन.
True. Very true.
And
Anything.
Steve also said very nicely that yes, competition should be from within. I mean, from yourself only, from what the type of person you were yesterday. to the type of person you'll be becoming, you are today and you'll be becoming tomorrow. That what extra you have gained today, what extra you have learned today.
Hmm. I still remember I was in a 90 days challenge wherein I used to write every single day. What did I learn today? Where did I improve today? And where can I improve tomorrow?
Hmm.
And that was a very good way because I was deliberately looking forward to आज कहाँ पे improve करना है कर लेती हूँ क्योंकि वो जनरल में भी लिखना होगा.
Hmm.
And then I was looking out for हाँ आज ऐसी क्या कमी रह गई जिसको अब कल इम्प्रूव कर सकती हूँ. बेशक वो छोटी छोटी चीजें थी बट यस इट डज मेक अ डिफरेंस.
अब छोटी ही चीजें होती हैं करिश्मा, जो डिफरेंस एक्चुअली क्रिएट करती हैं. बिहेवियरल चेंज बहुत छोटे छोटे होते हैं. दैट दैट
Yesterday, day
एक्चुअली.
before yesterday only, I had shared in my person in my transforming lives wale group में. I had heard a meditation by Jim Rohn, wherein he was sharing that there are 10 mini habits that one should have every single day so that we can be highly, the thing, successful. 10 वर एक रीडिंग बुक्स 15-20 मिनट पढ़ो तो पढ़ो. राइटिंग जर्नल, सेटिंग गोल्स, एक्सरसाइज, ग्रैटिट्यूड, रेस्ट, गिविंग, listening carefully, patience, and spending time with the right people every single day. Setting goal मतलब you have to write your goal every single day. And I have done that. I have done all these things for 90 days and it does make a difference. You stay focused. You stay in your वो नाल लगा देते हैं ना घोड़े के साइड पे and they walk in the straight line. You do not you know do not focus on any
apart
distraction.
apart from your routine, if you have to complete these 10 tasks per day, you don't have time to any other thing.
Exactly.
You don't even have time to think about any other thing. I mean, जो
Exactly.
भी आप गप्पे मारना या बिचिंग करना या कुछ भी बोलना, you
टाइम
don't
नहीं
have
मिलता.
time for all that.
You don't have
Yes.
time for distractions. You are fully focused on your mission, your goal,
Mm.
whatever you call it. And that is a good way of living. क्यों करनी है किसी की बिचिंग क्रिबिंग का क्यों करनी है किस लिए? What is it helping you achieve? Okay. But when you do it, in fact, आप खुद भी सल्की हो रहे होते हो कहीं ना कहीं अंदर से. And that is why it comes out. That, yeah. Anything else you want to share, Madhulika, before we wrap up today's session?
नहीं करिश्मा.
How is your
Done.
health, by the way?
हाँ, हेल्थ ठीक है. हेल्थ ठीक है. अभी
चलो.
सैटरडे की वर्कशॉप की तैयारी करनी है.
Hmm. Chalo, we shall continue with chapter number 14 tomorrow. That is about self-discovery. It is about, finding your purpose in life. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Till then, take good care of yourself. God bless you and sleep well.
Okay, bye, good night.